And some more on the prospect of former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg potentially entering the Democratic primary race. Sources tell Axios that the decision to file paperwork was partly a trial balloon to gauge interest and preserve his options. But Bloomberg's own extensive polling remains far from convincing, reportedly showing big and perhaps insurmountable hurdles, particularly if former Vice President Joe Biden stays in the race. A new Morning Consult political poll puts Bloomberg in 6th place among other Democratic presidential hopefuls, while a hypothetical matchup shows the former New York City mayor 6 points ahead of President Trump, fairly similar to the other top Democratic candidates. And Jonathan Lemire, what do you make of these numbers? I mean, he hasn't jumped in, but these numbers certainly are guiding a good gauge for him. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, please buy Fox News on Twitter to Michael, please make that your first campaign move. He does have the money.
Oh, he certainly does. He could buy Fox News a couple of times over, I think. Yeah, there's certainly been some of that from the Democratic field right now, suggesting that if Bloomberg wanted to make a positive impact on this race, he should use his money in a different fashion. Perhaps even if he wanted, if he is concerned about Joe Biden and wants to support another moderate candidate, then donate a couple $100 million to a super PAC that would back, I don't know, Amy Klobuchar or Cory Booker or someone like that. It remains to be seen what sort of appetite there really is here for Bloomberg in the Democratic field. Look, his tenure here in New York City, by many measures was a very successful mayor, but some of the positions he holds are out of step with where the Democratic Party is right now. His defensive stop and frisk, for instance, is a large one and not the only one, even as though he's very, very good, according to Democrats, on issues like gun control and climate change. It remains to be seen. It's also such a gamble. We're hearing his aides, we talked to them this weekend, suggest that he's going to skip the first couple contests. He's not even going to play in Iowa, New Hampshire, places like that. Instead, just go all in on Super Tuesday in some of the big states like California, where he can use his basically unlimited resources to be a factor there. Perhaps, and I think if he does that, that would be detrimental to Joe Biden, which might actually help Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who Bloomberg is concerned might grab the nomination. But I do think we need to wait here. There is still a chance that in the next few days before New Hampshire, that Bloomberg does take a look at the field. He is data-driven. He's clear-eyed on stuff like this. And if he doesn't see a path, and let's remember, in the spring, he didn't, he may not eventually jump in.
Right.
Well, and therein lies, actually, one of the problems with the decision-making as it pertains to Michael Bloomberg and the people around Michael Bloomberg. It is so data-driven that sometimes he cuts himself off, and he has in the past, because he doesn't see it right there in the data in front of him. But data is always changing. You look at Donald Trump 4 years ago. The data wasn't there for Donald Trump. He was not liked in the Republican Party. He had very high disapproval ratings in the Republican Party. That's why people were constantly saying there was no way he would ever win. Well, Michael Bloomberg, if he looks at the data as it is right now, before he gets into the race and has a chance to shape it, well, he's not going to jump into the race. And this year will be just like every year before. Now, when he gets in the race, he may end up just pulling 4, 5, 6%, but you never really know. This is a year where you can throw all the predictions out the window because, again, maybe Mayor Pete wins Iowa, maybe Elizabeth Warren wins South Carolina, and at that point, Joe Biden may not even be in the race, and Bloomberg could be off to the races. And yes, there's a risk that Biden does well in one of those early states. But again, that's what politics is about.
Yeah.
There are always moving parts, and you have to be able to respond and be nimble at every second of a campaign. And so if he's just sitting there in New York staring at data, he will remain frozen for the rest of his life when it comes to politics.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.